دادن وسیله نقلیه، همچنین موضوعات مختلف. خیلی متشکرم از اینکه با ما همراه هستید. آنچه که ملاحظه می‌کنید تجاوز رژیم صهیونیستی به خاک جمهوری اسلامی ایران و منطقه صدا و سیما. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلود استادیوم
من نمیدونم چند تا از همکارام داخل بودن. من طبقه اول بودم بمباران شد. نمیدونم چند تا از همکارام شهید شدن.
Okay. Yo! Ja, bne, zono. Yo, אני בהלם. Yo, אני בשוק.
You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
You said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't?
Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently. And they were both satisfied to go home and get out. And can it start again? I guess someday it can. It could maybe start soon. I think a big telltale sign was when, as you know, Iran somewhat, by not much, violated the ceasefire. And Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you got to get them back. And they brought them back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard. I think the war ended, actually, when we hit the various nuclear sites with the planes.
You just said...
All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praises and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakak Kodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of great millstone who rule well and taught us the truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad doing this work in truth and sincerity. I want to say shalom. And this is a quick hit, man, through the spirit. And as you see from the beginning videos, this is just going on wars and rumors of wars, man. You know, according to prophecy, man. Just a little prophecy watch, a little prophecy update. You know, we seeing the times come to pass. We measuring the times, man. You know, seeing everything evolve, we know that we're in a time of war, man. We're in a time of prophecy being fulfilled. We're in a time of famines, seditions amongst men. Your foes being they of your own household. We got a lot of stuff on the rise, man. The MOTB, coming right around the corner. It's a lot of things, heating up, man. Getting ready to come down the drain, man. And it's all going according to the Lord's plan, man. It's all going according to prophecy, But in this case, man, just going off the videos, we see that World War III is on the rise, man. And we know that we see that World War III is on the rise, man. And we know it's going to come. And we know when it comes, it's going to come suddenly, man. Because we know according to prophecy, again, measuring the times, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shah, we know that the MOTB must come to pass first, man. It's a couple more prophecies that must come to pass. And ultimately, World War III, man. The end all be all, man. This place is going down in nuclear destruction, man, through the ICBM missiles, man. This place, becoming that lake of fire, being burnt with that fervent heat, as the scriptures read, man. But without further ado, we'll jump right into it, man. Just something quick through the spirit, Lord, this is edifying. Again, just a prophecy update, a prophecy watch at that, man. But this is Ecclesiastes 3:8, and it reads, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace, man. You know, so as it reads, man, it's going to be a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace right now. And right now, as we reading and watching the times, we know that we're in a time of war, man. You know, a time of pestilence, a time of, again, so this is amongst man. You know, famines, you know, plagues, things that the Lord prophesied, you know, even hate being in the earth, man. You know, a lot of hate, man. You know, like the scriptures reads, roughly paraphrasing what it says, because iniquity shall wax worse, the love of many shall grow cold, man. So people are going to hate, man. You know, people going to start showing their true colors, man. These spirits, these demons, they're going to start waking up, you know, and exposing themselves, man. Especially of these other nations concerning war, man. Against against Babylon the Great, man. Coming up against Babylon and these other nations, man. You know, these spirits are going to, they're going to get amped up, man, as the days go on, man. Because we know the scriptures read, the Lord has to shorten the days for the elect's sake, man. So the Lord, he's going to amp everything up, man. You know, it's going to start coming down the drain quick, man. You know, and that's what you see happening, man. You know, we see Trump, you know, Babylon, these elites, they're trying to avoid war at all costs, because what the ultimate agenda is to push out the MOTB. So, and that's how we know through the spirit and through prophecy that that's coming first, man. Because what? Trump is calling for peace, man. They calling for ceasefire. You know what you see in the videos. Because what the ultimate agenda is to get out this MOTB, man. Is to push out that new world order, man. You know, to get complete control and dominance, you know, over the minds of the people, man. You know. But just moving on, man. Let's go to Matthew, the 24th chapter, man. You know, concerning prophecy. Because we know, like the scriptures read, the testimony of Yahweh Shai is what? Prophecy, man. You know. But this is Matthew 24, and we'll pick up at 6. Kind of read down to 8, man. So this is Matthew 24 and 6, and it reads, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So again, we're hearing of wars and rumors of wars. The Lord said, see, you be not troubled, because what? All these things must come to pass, man. The rumors of wars, you know, the Israel versus Iran, the Russia versus Ukraine, Russia getting involved, trying to put their hand in, you know, wanting to send Ukraine nukes, you know, what you got? North Korea, these different countries, China sitting on the back burner, you know, all these different things, you know, playing a part, and they gotta come to pass, man. But the Lord said, but the end is not yet, man. So these things are just cooking, man. They're on the slow cook right now until the Lord turn the heat up, man. You know, once he turned the heat up, you know, it's gonna get cooked. It's gonna be, you know, like the scriptures tell you, he said the vision is yet for an appointed time. When it cometh, even though it tarry, when it cometh, it shall not tarry, man. Wait for it, you know. Roughly paraphrasing, man. You know, so the Lord said, but the end is not yet. Because, well, again, we know that the MOTB must come to pass. But the World War III, you know, any wars, the rumors of wars, all these things are slowly cooking up, man. You know, the Lord is setting the table for it. He preparing it, man. That way, when it hits the fan, it's gonna be just like that, like the scripture say. Again, it's not gonna tarry, man. You know, it ain't gonna be no playing no games, waiting around. It ain't gonna be no sending no threats. It ain't gonna be Babylon and Iran tweeting back and forth on Twitter, man. You know, it ain't gonna be a bunch of fucking TikToks and people, you know, talking about the war. It's gonna be complete chaos, man. All hell gonna break loose, man. You know, people not gonna have time to be on TikTok. You know, Iran and Babylon ain't gonna have time to tweet each other, man. It's gonna be war. You know, boots on the ground, man. You know. But finishing out verse 7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, man. And we're in those beginning of those sorrows, man, to come, man. We're literally in those and heading into those, you know, perilous times that the scriptures speak about in 2 Timothy, man. You know, these are the times we in, man. The beginning of sorrows, the perilous times, man. You know. Because what the Lord is stirring up war in the earth, man. He's stirring the pot up for war, famines, pestilence, man. Things of that nature. Ultimately for what? Prophecy will be fulfilled, man. What? So that the elect could be sealed and the Lord could come redeem them, man. You know? And the kingdom of heaven could be fulfilled. So prophecy will be fulfilled so the kingdom of heaven could come, man. You know? But let's go to the book of Joel, you know, concerning this war, man. Because ultimately, that's what the Lord is doing, man. You know, he's preparing the nations. He's preparing the nations for war, man. You know. But this is Joel 3:1. And it reads, "For behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and of Jerusalem, and I will also gather all nations." So the Lord is gathering all nations, man. That's what the Lord is stirring up, man. He's gathering all nations for this war. It says that we'll bring them down to the valley of Yehoshaphat. It says, and we'll plead with them there for my people, man. You know, so the Lord is getting ready to plead with all these nations for his people, ultimately for his elect, man. You know, just like the brother Spirit Winter Levi, the elder from Mississippi camp, was going to, you know, World War III, you know, the things happening in the earth now, and prophecy being fulfilled now, are all consequences for, you know, we being going into slavery, man. For all the atrocities, you know, and cruel things Esau did unto us, man. You know, the Lord is getting ready to plead for his people. He's getting ready to plead for his elect, man. You know, so you're going to have these families, these pestilence, World War III, Esau going to war, man. You know, bombings, you know, ICBM missiles, rocket launchers, man. You're going to have this shit going on, man, because the Lord is getting ready to plead for his people, man. You know, it says, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. You know, so what the Lord is doing, man. He's bringing again that captivity, man. You know, of Israel. The Lord is getting ready to plead for his elect, ultimately, man. You know, but I want to touch on this kind of right here in verse 9 too. You know, so this is verse 9, skipping down to verse 9, same chapter, Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your prunes and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong, man. It says, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen. Gather yourselves together round about. Do the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, man. You know, so the Lord is calling out these heathen, man. He told them, hey, proclaim this amongst the Gentiles, man. Prepare for war. And that's what the Lord is doing, man. He proclaimed amongst the nations, man. Amongst the Gentiles to get ready for war, man. You know, the Lord told them to wake up the mighty man, you know, to let their weak say, I'm strong, man. That's what the Lord is doing, man, in the earth right now, man. You know, he's stirring them up. And how he's stirring the people up and the nations up for war, he's using the kings of the earth, man. He's using what? Donald Trump, Putin, Netanyahu, however you pronounce the damn Israel president or war, a leader over there, man. You know, he's using damn Iranian leaders, man. You know, China leaders, Korea. He's using the kings of the earth to stir up the minds of the people, you know, and put it in their face through social media to get them ready for war, man. You know, and that's all you see. That's what's trending, man. People, you know, you still got Jake playing around, joking about World War III coming, joking about the draft. You know, Eve joking about the war, joking how she didn't get to do this and that, and now we're about to go to war. Well, this is the reality, man. People playing around, but this, you know, this was really about to happen, man. This is what's really about to go down. You know, the Lord is really about to cause this shit to happen, you know. Because people still playing around. People still, you know, lollygagging, you know, scoffing, thinking the time is not going to come, thinking the time is not near when we're in those times, man. You know, we're in those times, man. But let's go to this. I want to grab this Revelation, man, just going off of, again, the Lord using the kings of the earth, man, to stir up this war, man. Stir up that spirit of war, you know, in Babylon the Great and throughout, you know, all these nations, man. But this is Revelation 16. And, kind of will read, we'll read 13 or 14, kind. So this is Hebrews, not Hebrews. I'm reading 16, but this is Revelation 16 and 13. It says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. It says, for they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world. So these spirits, they're working miracles. They're going forth and what? Into the kings of the earth and to the whole world. It said to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty. You know, so that's what the Lord is doing, man. You know, the Lord is putting those unclean spirits out. It says like frogs, man. You know, he's sitting them out there through the beast, man, through the dragon. You know, sitting them out there through the kings of the earth and the whole world. To what? To gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty, man, as the scripture read, man. You know, so that's what the Lord is doing, man. Salakia, man. All kind of stuff going on. But just to finish going on again, going off the revelation, man. That's what the Lord is doing, man. He's putting that spirit out there, ultimately to start war. Like it tells you in Isaiah. Let's grab that. How the Lord's gonna put that perverse spirit out there, to what? To set the Egyptians versus the Egyptians, man. And that's what the Lord is doing, man. In that same chapter that talks about how the Lord is setting a cruel ruler over Egypt, was going into what? Trump, man. But this is and this devil, he's finna show his horns soon, man. Like the scriptures read, he know of that what he have but a short time. And this devil's getting ready to show his horns, man. This devil know it's over with, man. They're doing everything in their power to try to uphold this damn beast system. To push their NWO, to push the MOTB. But this devil know it's over with, man. But this is Isaiah 19:2, man. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, man. That's what the Lord is doing. He's setting the Egyptians versus the Egyptians. It says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. The Lord said, hey, the spirit of Egypt shall fail, man. The Lord, he's putting it out there. So the spirit of Egypt, the spirit of Babylon to fail, man. It says, fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. That's what the Lord is doing, man. He's destroying the counsel. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards, man. We know there's a lot of witchcraft and enchantments to go on out here in Babylon the Great, man. Especially dealing with Esau Edom, man. This damn devil, man. He deals with a lot of sorcery, man. But that's what the Lord is doing, man. Ultimately, the Lord is setting the Egyptians versus the Egyptians, man. That's what you see going on, man. Throughout prophecy, man. Throughout this war increasing up, getting amped up, man. Even with inside Babylon, man, you have what? Esau versus Esau, man. With them what was it? I think it was like court orders. Getting certain congressmen locked up, certain people that worked in the office. It's a lot of wickedness they going behind closed doors, and Esau, they're finally exposing it, man. So you got a lot of Edomite versus Edomite, man. The Satan versus Satan going on, man. And let's grab that. Matthew 12:26, man. Well, this is Matthew 12. And we'll start at 25, actually, kind of. And it reads, and Yahweh knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself, it is brought to desolation. And this kingdom is divided against itself, man. Whether the people see it or not, it's divided. The Lord said it's going to be brought to desolation. And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand, man? So Satan casting out Satan in this matter, man. And therefore, that this kingdom is not going to stand too much longer, man. And that's why this devil's going to get to scrambling, man. He's trying to call for peace and safety. He's doing everything in his power to try to keep the infrastructure of Babylon, together. Keep things running the flow. Try to push that MOTB again, man. But we already know how this movie going to end, man. And the Lord is doing that because, Esau has done a lot of wickedness, man. Ultimately, at the end, just like in any other movie, the bad guy or the guy that was making himself out to be the good guy and ultimately, was revealed as the bad guy, everybody turned against him. And that's what you have going on, man. But this is Obadiah 1:6. It says, how the things of Esau searched out, how his head things sought up. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. They and prevailed against thee, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him, man. So like I said, man, and the things of Esau are searched up, man. Searched out. His head things are what? Are sought up. And like I said, all the men of thy confederacy, meaning all the men that this kingdom is aligned with, all these other nations that Esau has aligned itself with, and they have what? It says, have brought thee even to the border. It says, and the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, man. So ultimately, they're deceiving Esau, man. All these nations are ultimately going to come against this devil, man. And at the end, because what? Like the scriptures talk about, and that man of perdition is going to be revealed, man. Again, the devil has done a lot of wickedness, and now he got to pay for it, man. And that's why they scrambling, man. That's why they trying to push for peace and safety, man. This devil know he got to pay for everything, man. He know his time coming, man. Even in the last clip of the videos, what Trump trying to call for the ceasefire, man. You know, he was so damn mad. He started cussing at the news reporter, man. You know. But let's end it with this, man. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians, because the devil trying to call for peace and safety, but we know, you know, what the Lord said otherwise, man. What the prophecy says, you know. So this is 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, and travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape, man. You know, so we know the Lord's going to come like a thief in the night, man. And when everybody least expecting it, man. When this devil least expecting it, you know. Just when they thought they had it. Just when they thought they had the Lord. Just when they thought they had the people, you know. And the Lord going to, you know, bring that sudden destruction, man. You know. Because they're trying to call for that peace and safety. And it's going to look like everything going to be coming together, man. And then boom. You know. The Lord going to come with a thief in the night. He not going to come when everybody expecting it, man. Oh, everybody hollering, oh, we in the end times. We in the end times. World War III. No. You know. The Lord going to let you get settled in. Like the scriptures tell you, he's going to come destroy you in your security, man. When you feel secure, you know. When everybody back trusting the Esau and his beast system, man. You know, some of y'all going to be done took the chip. You know, Lord willing, those that are the elect and man scribing of this ministry of Yahweh by Shah, you know, in truth and sincerity, that we don't, you know, we don't take that mark. We don't bow down to the beast, man. You know. But a lot of people, they're going to bow down to the beast. They're going to take that chip. You know, they're going to get settled in on their leaves. And what the Lord going to do, he going to bring that sudden destruction, man. You know. That's just how this movie ends, man. But again, this is just a prophecy of a date. You know, watch it, man, of the wars, the rumors of wars, things coming to pass, man. And even in the clip in there, you'll see, you know, you even had the doomsday plane come to the White House, man. So these devils know, man. These devils know, man. This devil time is running out, man. The end of his age is here, man, you know. Now the scriptures read, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth it, man. You know. But I ain't going to rant too much. I'm going to close it out with that. The Lord willing, this was edifying. And again, we're going to close it out giving our praises and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakodash. Again, double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the whole elect scattered abroad doing this work of truth and sincerity. And with that, I say shalom until next time. Shalom.